Good evening. Good evening. Let's please rise for the pledge.
And to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so forgive me because I'm still new at this, but I'll manage to get through it even though my iPad's not working too well. Let's see. Our first action is to hand it over to the superintendent for a superintendent report.
Right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. Thank you for filming. We did get some new cameras, so we're going to see how that works tonight. But happy to have the backup. Yeah, so we're hoping that we had the internet was down today and the phones were down today, but we're just restoring them about 20 minutes ago. So we're hoping that it all works. But if not, we have a backup. So thank you for coming. Just want to give the board an update. We're going to have a board ed retreat on Monday, the 31st. From 9 o'clock to about 2 o'clock at the Bayport Blue Point Library. And the 4 parts of the retreat, part 1, the board is going to just reflect on the year that we've had and look at the areas of strength, things we've done well, areas we want to improve upon, and we're going to create kind of just an updated plan for that. Then the board is going to review the 100-day study, which was the focus groups and the surveys that parents completed, and kind of cull from that study areas of interest for the board that they want to focus on moving forward. And then part 3, we're going to look at the work that principals did. I'm really proud of our principals and our teachers. They spent the whole year looking at that data as well and formulating a plan for each building for the year. And then the 4th and final part of the retreat hopefully will be the board starting to formulate some goals for the school year, which we will hopefully adopt in September. So that's the plan for the retreat, and then everything will be online and posted for the community to see. And I think it's important to set the goals in September so that everyone in the community can go online, see what we're aiming for, and we can all aim for it together. And I really am hopeful that the goals reflect the sentiments of the teachers, the staff, the students, and the community which participated in that surveys and focus groups during the year. The only other thing is that we want to do that's a change for this year coming up is we'd like to put together a schedule of topics for each board meeting in advance, so that in September we post what the board meeting dates are, but also topics of presentations. So if we're doing curriculum work at the high school, there'll be a posting, in a certain date. Here's when the high school is going to talk about the curriculum changes that we're making, or if they're doing something at the middle school or the elementaries, we'll have different presentations for each area that we're proposing, and that way we can get community feedback, and also the community can see these are the things we'll be talking about at each meeting about our school. So we're going to work on that at the board retreat as well, and that's one that kind of put it out there and make sure people are aware. Finally, Rhonda's going to give an update on the construction, and we had a PowerPoint with pictures, but because of the trouble with the internet, it didn't kind of work. So let's walk it through it.
Okay. So
Just use
yes.
your microphone.
Oh yes. Sorry, I apologize. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of work being done in 3 of the buildings, Cherry Avenue, the roofing project, all of the skin is done on that roof. And now they're just waiting for the metal edging that will go around the outside of the building. So that work is well underway. For our high school roofing project, that will be done still on schedule for August 14th. They're making their way around the building there. And in Sunrise, where we have our bathroom project going on, 18 bathrooms, they are 70% tiled, and today they started the flooring, epoxy flooring. So all of the projects are on schedule, and a lot of great work. I've been attending the construction meetings still and meeting with the vendors. So
just want to take a moment to compliment Rhonda and Danny Castellano, who did a fantastic job just managing these projects and making sure they're going to be done on time for school in September. So, it sounds like nothing, it's bathrooms, but it's, they're extensive work and the roof and everything else. So we appreciate the work that has been. Okay, and now we have a public hearing. Every year we're obligated to kind of review our safety plan and then and hear comments from the public regarding that public safety plan. So Rhonda is also going to do that.
Yes, so this opens the public hearing for the 2023-2024 district-wide school safety plan. I'd like to introduce Mr. Wayne Simone, who is our supervisor of security. I'm Rhonda Meserl, Assistant Superintendent for Business. We both co-chair the district-wide school safety team. Tonight, we will be appointing the committee members. But this public hearing is in accordance with the Safe Schools Against Violence in Education, the SAVE Act law, and it's in compliance with education law and the Commissioner of Education regulations. So the Board of Ed will adopt this plan after the draft sits on the school district's website for 30 days, able to receive public comment. So tomorrow, that plan will be posted on the district's website, and it is separate and distinct from the individual building plans that are confidential in nature, which are also submitted annually for the new year to the State Education Department. So this evening, if there are any questions on the plan, I just wanted to share that since COVID, the plan has become quite comprehensive. It addresses PPE supplies, remote learning plans, as well as response protocols for threats of violence with threat assessment guides and resources for suicide and mental health. It's about 60 pages long. Required drills and trainings are a part of this. So I would refer everyone tomorrow to the website for a draft of that report. And at this time, if anyone had any questions.
Start with the board.
Yes.
I mean, has this very comprehensive? Anybody have any questions?
Very comprehensive. It's very comprehensive.
It is. It encompasses a lot of components and protocols for all sorts of different scenarios, prevention, and how to deal with different threats.
Yeah.
And these are new that have come up.
They are. There are components that are part of the plan now that weren't in past years. So it's just a lot of it, like I had said, came from COVID. We've learned a lot. There is an appendix with essential worksheets that was still a part, but now they don't speak specifically of COVID, but any communicable diseases and the plan and how we would be able to move remotely if we had to, and then also addressing just the different trainings and drills that are required.
Okay.
I'd like to see after we go through this process and adopt it, it is long, it's comprehensive, but I'd like to see a yearly, if not a bi-yearly sort of presentation of the highlights, but what the roles of like an admin, a community member, a student, like what is their piece of keeping us as safe as possible when it comes to perimeter and that sort of things, as well as communicable diseases. I think that's really important. We did that right after one of the last school shootings, and I think we should be more proactive as opposed to reactive. So
Yeah,
something like this.
That's a great idea. It's even like the simple thing we had recently, before you were on, the district, just for keeping doors closed. That's a problem throughout every district. And, maybe a presentation on that would be good.
They were like reminders.
What's your part? What's your role?
Yeah, and I think we did a presentation in January and we did get some community input and some features. And I think Rhonda did a really nice job with Wayne bulking up our safety plans. We're also going to be coming to you with a couple proposals in the fall just to kind of enhance even further. And that'll be discussed in public, and then you guys can decide, where you want to.
Because I think we also talked maybe about a poster campaign or something like that.
Yeah, PR, being very clear about the doors. We did a really nice job after January, I think, running around, making sure the doors were unpinned, making, because kids will, just, oh, I'm going to practice, especially at the high school. My friends come and put a chair or prop the door, and we had to do sweeps and just make sure that wasn't happening. So a lot of the stuff is in our control, but we have to be vigilant. And I do think the principals were really good about in January, making staff aware, and then Wayne and the rest of the staff did do a systematic sweeps. We're talking about adding a couple of staff guards at the elementary level. So there's one guard at the door and then one doing perimeters and things of that nature all day. And so we're going to propose some of that to you as well.
If you'll notice too, the committee has expanded to include transportation, so that if we had to evacuate, that would be someone who would be instrumental in coordinating that, as well as a nurse. So we can get feedback, parent members. So the committee has expanded a bit, and those will definitely be subjects that are part of our district-wide meetings. Mr. Simone and myself have also spoken and said really how to protect your school is make sure that you know who is in your buildings, staff and students. Certainly not elementary, but secondary, wearing the tags, as well as the doors, keeping them secure. So yeah, those are all we hope to do, tabletop exercises and things like that. So we're looking at all sorts of things in terms of and then make a report.
Sure. I'm looking forward to being on that committee.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Okay.
So, if there's any other questions?
I think that's good. Okay, and just to close out my report, I just want to thank the board. We've officially kind of gone through it here. We're going to be having our retreat on Monday, planning for the next year. And it's been a real pleasure and an honor to serve the children and the families of the Sayville schools, and I'm really looking forward to doing that.
So now we move on to Board of Ed discussion. Firstly on my topics here is the Board of Education retreat. Any questions? Are we all set for that? Good.
Looking forward to it.
I think we're gonna have 100% participation.
And I hope you did your homework and read all the reports prior to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Committed ultimate.
That's impressive.
Okay, then we also have the scope annual dinner, so if you're interested in going to that, just let Julie know. That's on the 15th of August. And the NISBA convention is in October, so we have the registration opens up August 8th.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
Julie, it opens August 8th. When do we need to know by? When's the deadline?
It feels like pretty quick, so as soon as you know
Oh, yeah.
better.
Okay.
Just want to remind everyone to turn on your mic when you speak, because even though the people in the front row can hear, you want the people at home to hear, and also the people in the back row to hear as well.
Okay.
Got it.
So, as far as the convention, I mean, I went to it a couple of years back when I was in New York. It was, I found it really good. So next year, I understand it's going to be downstate.
Yeah, usually, when it's downstate in Manhattan, it's a lot easier for people to get to, so more
Yes.
people attend. When it's in, last year was Syracuse and now Buffalo, depends on your opinion of those distances. But I
Those
go,
cities.
and I do find the conferences to be great. There's
Yeah, they're
conferences on
really
safety, conferences on transportation, conferences on instruction, conferences on just about every, technology use, every kind of thing you could imagine, it's available to you to learn as a board member and within the district. So they're definitely, I know in my past districts, when it was in New York City, we brought more people from within the district because it was affordable, because you don't have to travel, but certainly a good conference.
Maureen and I went last year, and I think that it was great. We learned a lot.
It's
So
excellent.
much information.
You don't, you don't only learn from the conferences, you learn from other boards throughout the state. And it's very good because you see what we're doing very well and see areas we can improve upon.
It was great to speak with them and just kind of
I like it. I like it. I like the conferences. It's unfortunate we haven't had a national one. The national ones are excellent because you see that New York State is very far ahead of a lot of states. It's good. It's very
When
good.
does registration close?
just, that's what
Yeah,
she said.
sorry.
It fills up quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if you are planning on going, just even not only the conference, but getting a hotel, you
Yeah.
want to be in walking distance, where else you're going to be. It can be problematic if you're on the other side of Buffalo at the time.
okay. And then we also have the claims order report.
Good.
Yeah, questions? Okay, so. Okay, now we're gonna go on to. Yeah, the first one, yeah. Should we have a conversation first?
I think we go through and vote first.
Cool. Well, I can pull that ahead. Just so we vote it. Vote it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, so. As far as the public session, I just want to remind the ground rules. We offer a community to comment, and we set aside 30 minutes for comments and questions to the board before the Board of Education. The board reserves the right to limit participation in given cases or extend maximum time if it deems necessary. Questions and comments by the public are limited to 3 minutes per person. Speakers are asked to identify themselves and or the group they represent. Speakers conduct themselves in a civil manner and direct their comments to the board. The board will not permit discussion involving individual district personnel, students, or community members. Thank you. So at this time, can I have hands for how many people would like to speak? Yeah. Okay, sorry. It's all three. So I'm being told that we have the safety plan discussion first. And is that with the public or is that with?
Yeah.
I think they have a chance to
Mhm.
respond.
Yeah, so
Okay,
if there's
so if we
anyone
have
that is.
first any comments on the safety plan, that's fine. Any comments on the safety plan?
Question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Can I do I need to?
You can just speak loudly though, so that
Yeah,
people can hear.
sure. Oh, that's not a problem. So I did try to read through a lot of that, so it is huge.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that stuck out to me just to ask the question. So falls under safety specifically, like issues with DASA and bullying. But on the list of people that are now going to be like involved with the safety plan, there is a piece where parents are part of that. And I think it's kind of all over the map, so I might have misread it or misunderstood it. So one question is, if parents are on a committee and have access to things, and DASA is confidential. So if they're interacting in a filing and looking to improve safety in regards to a DASA, how confidential are the DASAs that have been filed in regards to reviewing them? Unless I'm am I misreading it or?
So parents are not looking at those types of files. We do have a parent member on the district-wide health and safety committee, but it's more about protocols and procedures. There's not confidential information that is shared at these meetings.
Okay. Is this, I should have asked this probably first. Is this whole thing, it's not new, because when you announced it, you said that it's a review, right? but there are new pieces based on COVID. So where is the pieces that show us, like I know like 2 months ago, because this is new for me and really watching this or learning the process, there was like a redacted, it was red, it was highlighted. Which parts of these are new and which parts of these are we enhancing? Like where are the changes? What's the original? Like are we not privy to that or is
So
it not existent? This is all brand
these
new?
are guidelines that the state education department, education law will say now the plans must include. So in the past, I don't believe remote plans were a part of it. There is an index in the front of the plan. So usually the appendixes, they get added on. The essential worksheets were, a part of the plan since COVID. So it's sort of an evolution, but surveys on digital equity were never a part of it. Threat assessment is another huge part of it. So you will see many of these changes as part of the appendices to the plan.
Okay, so let's refer specifically, I did the quick read and I don't think it's an appendix, so that's why I wanna ask about it.
And trainings, yeah.
So there's I can't find it, I did screenshot them just because those are the ones I wanted to pinpoint. But there was a specific one, I can't find it at the moment, in regards to confidential and anonymous reporting. Is that a new piece or is that an existing piece?
So, I mean, that is something, I'm not familiar, do we have anonymous alerts
We don't.
We have a
in
tip
this
line.
district? I'm
We
sorry?
have an anonymous tip line.
For safety in regards to what?
For Sayville, if anybody wants to make an anonymous tip to the state, to the district about anything, school, security wise, or.
But that's, I never, I have 19 years, so I never knew that. So maybe we need to let, not that I wanna report anything, but my focus is probably not on the issue of a door being open or God forbid, a threat to the school. It's focused in a different area, specifically under DASA. So I didn't realize that DASA is incorporated into the safety program, and so it kind of makes sense, but I didn't realize it was gonna be there when I looked at that. So where is the anonymous posting for DASA? Since, there are some uncomfortable issues there, and there are things that may not be reported, and maybe you can have a conversation with the board specifically about me and DASA, so that it can catch you up. So here is not publicly,
Okay.
but specifically the anonymous it's non-existent that I know of. So if it's in here and we supposedly, it's not an appendix and it's not an addition, where is it and why are we not activating it? Because I would have gladly loved to have that. And so would the non-existent parents that didn't stand up. If that existed with confidentiality and integrity, maybe, just maybe, I wouldn't have to sit here still 3 years later and be dealing with what I'm dealing with. So they can inform you, they can catch you up on that piece. But this, when I saw it today, I was like, what? Like, what?
Okay.
So we need to have one, so.
Thank you. Any other questions on the,
Safety plan?
well, just related to the plan?
Yes, I have
Okay.
related to the plan. I didn't read over the plan, but just going off of what she said, I didn't realize there was an anonymous reporting line. And perhaps you should put it on the homepage or something, because that could be really useful. I did notice. Is it? I've never known about it. I'm on the website, of course, all you know all the time, because it's always on the agenda. So when I go on the homepage first, I've never seen that, but it would be great if it would stand out. Of course, you don't want to get like silly tips or whatever, but you never know. Not anything is ever
No
silly.
tips are silly.
So I noticed, what I noticed over the years, and my last one graduated in 2017, so it's been a while, but I assume it is still the same. With safety indoors. So, you have all the kids and they're locking the doors, it's staff's locking the doors, but we have, especially at the high school, that's where I noticed it the most. The cafeteria doors, you have delivery people who drop off soda, whatever else. They're in and out of those doors. I don't know who's checking them, but delivery people. Those companies, you could have anybody going in and out of buildings. So perhaps we should be checking all the delivery people. I know there's a lot, and there's probably a lot of work. I don't know how you would do it, but I don't know if it's done anymore or if it ever was, but when my daughter was in the school, it never was. and constant in and out of those cafeteria doors. So that's a suggestion. The DASA, there was a former employee, actually today's the date, pleaded guilty today in court for endangering the welfare of a minor. And other children didn't come forward because they couldn't be anonymous. So we only had one child in the family who participated in that, which could have been a much worse criminal action, I believe. So that's a great idea. If there's a problem with students as well, I'm just saying that, great idea. Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions regarding the safety plan? Okay, thank you. Then we'll now move on to regular public session. So anybody have a question or comments?
Gone up there in the past and then incoming students, and I just would like to present a petition we have to allow the community members to go for the upcoming seat on the board, so it's just one of those.
Absolutely, if you want to bring it to the district clerk, we'll be happy to take it for you.
We've got online and then had signatures as well.
There was some more floating around out there, but it's summer.
Okay, thank you.
Take whatever you have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll let everybody else go first. If there's anybody else, I can't see
That's, I
anything.
think you'll like.
Through it all last.
I don't see anybody else.
This winter?
Yep.
Okay. I saw Doug floating around in the building.
Who's
I don't know
behind
if he
you?
wants to step in. Oh, hi. Happy summer. So this is to the board. This is not to the superintendent. So I have a few questions and I don't know if you'll be able to answer them all. If not, I would gladly email them because I think the community deserves answers to every single one of them. So I would like to know when school board members go for training and what sort of training. And if you think you're a private entity or not. Everybody in this room, and this is referring to the last meeting, we were in the back, must hear you. It is open meetings law. Everyone in this room has to hear you. You shouldn't be speaking amongst yourselves quietly. It's a public meeting, we need to hear what you're saying to each other also. I know sometimes somebody might say, what did so-and-so saying, you're just repeating it, but still we need to hear that. So that's, I'm not sure you understand your purpose, because if you did, you would understand you shouldn't be doing that. So no emails are also read during correspondence section, except for an occasional thank you to the board. Plenty of emails go to you guys. I know I've emailed plenty over the years, and so are other community members. That keeps the community in the dark about what their questions are to the board. Why aren't the items you vote on projected on the screen behind you at every meeting? Tonight, exception, your internet's not working, whatever. We put up presentations, everything we vote on should be for the community to see, not in the dark during a meeting, keeping the people in the dark. The Zoom quality, I hope, is better. Otherwise, the community is kept in the dark. We're very much behind the times, technology-wise. Are there parents on the policy committee? If so, how many? Why is the superintendent directing the school board on a policy committee? Policy is one of the most important functions of school board. You were supposed to create policy for your superintendent to run the district, not the other way around. And additionally, I'm sorry, Christine, but I have to comment on this. Christine is the chairman on the committee. She's a new school board member. And at one of the recent meetings, she was not aware that a policy did not come from New York State School Boards Association. I know the policy manual front to back over all these years. I know which ones came from there, which did, and how you rotate them. She also did not know that white people are a protected class of people. They are. Everybody needs to know that. And I think Dr. Farris, thank you for including that in your policy, every child. I'm not saying that white people are separate, but we're all people. And those were left out of the original policy, Thank you for including everyone. I'd like to know when you were doing your training because you haven't been following Robert Rules, New York State Open Meetings law. I understand you're new at this town, but you've been on the board a long time, so please follow them. There was no opening of the last meeting in between the reorganization and the business meeting. There was no vote to close a meeting, reopen a new meeting. Everybody was confused. I have to say this, and I know you're sitting next to me, but it was brought to my attention that the administrator you are about to hire is also named in a lawsuit with Dr. Ferris, a discrimination lawsuit, and perhaps you should do
And we don't
something.
discuss personnel.
Well, she's not hired yet. Oh, I'm sorry, I mentioned Dr. Ferris, I apologize. I'll
Actually-
take it out of the video, I'm sorry.
Okay, and also your time is up.
Okay, so. Please do your research, is why I asked that, okay, how you might have already, before you put the district at risk, that's all I'm asking. The board is voting on allowing you to put up to $1 million in the reserve fund.
Time is up.
I'd like to know how much you're transferring into that surplus reserve fund, that's all, those are my questions. I can certainly email them, I apologize for mentioning it, I'll cut it out my video.
I'll just say a couple things. The capital reserve fund will be voted on by the board in the August meeting, so we don't have an exact number yet on what's gonna go into the capital reserve. We always put it up to amount, and then the board will eventually get to, vote on that. In terms of, I do want to address the issue that you brought up with me, because I was involved in a lawsuit from about 6 years ago. Nobody else that you mentioned was, so just want to clarify.
Okay,
That's all my problem.
And as I opened today, yes, I'm a newly elected president of the board. Being VP is a nice, because you sit by the side and you watch the president. So running the meetings is a different level of challenge. And I'm a volunteer, so I'm not gonna be perfect. And I'll try my best to follow the rules.
so I understand, I appreciate your service, and I realize everybody's.
Your time is up,
If you
okay?
have to do it right, if you're gonna do it.
And doing it right means your time is up.
Your time is up.
I'm gonna add a comment here.
I want to comment too.
One of the things I'd want to say in terms of Tom's leadership, I think Tom has always had a very deep understanding of the way you're supposed to operate in terms of processes. And I think the way that he's led us thus far is I very much appreciate, and I see nothing but is that picture of competence and integrity, and I appreciate it.
I do too, Tom. Doug, you're in the back. I just want to make a comment. If we do something that's not legal, please let us know.
How we doing, Doug?
Okay, thank
That was a
you.
thumbs up for the video.
Okay. So now, public comment period is closed. Now we're gonna move on to recommended actions. I mean, unless anybody else have any comments on? Comments? Okay, okay. So, let me move on to 601 through to 812. I need a motion. Second,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor? That passes unanimously. Okay, then we move on to, we'll do 901 on its own, and we'll pull out 6002 and 6009 separately. Okay, so I need a motion for. Yes, okay, but pulling those two out. Okay, so then I need a motion on 901.
Motion.
Second, okay. Discussion. All those in favor? Against? Okay, passes. Then I need a motion for 901, section 6002. Motion,
Motion.
Second.
discussion. All those in favor? Against? Abstentions? Okay, we have one abstention. And then I need a motion, that motion passes. And then I need a motion on 901, 6009. Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
discussion. All those in favor? Against? Abstention? Motion passes.
Just want to make an announcement with that vote. We want to welcome Amy DiMiola to the Sayville schools. Amy comes to us from the North Shore schools with over a decade of experience in curriculum and instruction, as well as a decade of teaching math at the Great Neck schools. She was fully vetted, she was fully interviewed, and we're really excited to have her join our team. Thank you, Amy. And she's here with her family, her husband David, her daughters Avery and Nora, and her mother Maria. So congratulations to Amy and welcome to the family.
Now I move on to item 902 through 1002. Motion,
Motion.
second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Passes. And then upcoming dates. Okay, we have a Board of Education meeting on August 29th at 5:30. And then I need a motion to move into executive session to receive legal advice in connection with a potential claim. Motion. Second. All those in favor? Okay, we're in executive session.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.